So in this video, not only am I gonna show you how to make this DIY hanger, but I'm also gonna do my 100 subscriber giveaway, so stay tuned for that. So we're gonna make one of these. To do that, of course, we need a hanger. So I have two types of hangers here. That definitely needs to be a plastic hanger. I would also recommend, if you're like going to buy one, or if you're gonna pull one out of your closet like I did, to not have one that is bent like this. If you see there's a bend. This one right here is a little bit more straighter, so I would recommend finding one like that. I just pulled this from my closet, but I was recently at Walmart and they were on sale for like $2.98 for a pack of 10. So super cheap. You're also gonna need a 2-part epoxy. I'm using this JB Weld, and I would recommend using a plastic bonder like this. The only reason that I would say so is because I tried to spend a little bit more money and I got this steel reinforced epoxy and it did not stick to the plastic, and so it wasn't working very well. You're also gonna need a saw of some sort. I'm using this hacksaw. The saw is to cut up the hanger, so I would recommend using something that has serrated teeth like this. You could also use like a bread knife or something like that, but use at your own risk. This is a saw that I'm going to be using. You also need some sandpaper. This is a pack I bought from Walmart. This is a dual pack of 120 to 180 grit sandpaper. That's plenty of grit. You're also gonna need something like a flat surface to sand on. I'm gonna actually use a belt sander, but I'm gonna show you how you can do it on a flat surface and just some sandpaper. You're also gonna need some tape. I'm using some duct tape. This is more of a clamp than anything. And so you could also use masking tape or maybe even Scotch tape, but I would recommend masking tape or duct tape instead of that. And the last thing you're gonna need is some hose clamps. I got this assortment from Amazon. The reason why I got them from Amazon, because they have these thumb screws, and what these thumb screws do, it allows you to tighten and loosen the clamp without any tools. And if you're gonna bring this up on the range, you don't wanna have to bring a tool to use it every single time. So let's get making this, starting with the hanger. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna flatten the bottom of the hanger. What that's gonna do for us is when we place this on top of the golf club like this, it's going to have a spot for where it doesn't want to roll. We don't want it to roll on the golf club, so the first thing we're gonna do is just kind of flatten that up. How I'm gonna do it is I'm gonna use my belt sander. If you don't have a belt sander like I do though, you can just take a piece of sandpaper like this, put it on a flat surface, trying to make sure it is perpendicular to the table. You can just go back and forth and sand it like this. This is gonna take a while, but it definitely will work. So if you look, I'm slowly sanding this down. I got some of the hanger here. So you're just gonna go back and forth, trying to keep this as vertical as possible and sand it down. And I'm actually gonna hold it down in the middle and just kind of go back and forth like a sawing motion and slowly but surely sand this down. That will take forever. So I'm gonna use my belt sander. So now we're gonna position this to where I want it to be on my club. I want more sticking out the back. This is a key piece that I think a lot of people don't really understand. This sticking out the back is gonna help you with your swing. So remember, we're gonna have a hose clamp here, and we're gonna have a hose clamp somewhere around here. So we need enough of the hanger to be able to house these hose clamps. So I'm just gonna make 2 marks. I'm gonna make a mark about right here, and I'm gonna make a mark about right here. This is where we're going to cut the hanger. This allows us to have enough space for the hose clamp, but also have enough space to hold our grip. I do not want this piece in there. And if I have to adjust it, I'll adjust it later, but I'm gonna cut where those 2 spots are. So I'm lucky enough to have this little vise right here, so I'm just gonna put it in my vise. And I'm just gonna start cutting. One side. There's the other side. So now we have a hanger like this. I'm also gonna cut off this piece. Might as well do it now while I got the hacksaw out. So now I have something that kind of looks like this. I'm just gonna kind of sand where I cut, round it off. make it kind of safe for me to use. All right, there it is. Okay, so now this is gonna go this way. We gotta choose the right hose clamps. I think, looking at this, I don't know if you guys can tell, but I feel like I could probably cut off another 1/2 inch on this. Yeah, I'd rather cut off a 1/2 inch on this side, so I'm going to just cut off just a little bit more. Like I said, we're gonna adjust as we go, but I feel like my grip's gonna touch this, so I'm gonna cut it probably about right there. I'll be right back. You don't need to watch that. Okay, that looks much, much better. So this is how it's gonna look on the club. So now we just gotta pick the right hose clamp. And to pick the right hose clamp, we're gonna actually glue these. We're gonna glue these to where it's on top. And so we wanna make sure we pick a hose clamp that when it's like that, it can slide over the club. So like this one right here is just a little bit too small, and this one is probably good. So I'm gonna use this size hose clamp. This size hose clamp is a 25 to 38 millimeter. What is that? That like a inch to an inch and a quarter. And so if I do my math right, so I'm gonna use those guys. Here we go. I'm gonna use these guys. And when I am going to glue them on, I'm gonna glue it on to where the thumb screw's on the bottom, on the trail side of my body. And so what I'm gonna do first, slide these on. One of the reasons why I want to epoxy them on is because it's very cumbersome to try to get these on at the same time and hold the club. And so first of all, I'm going to install this again to where the thumb screws on the trail side of my body or the back side of the club. I'm gonna do that until the clamp kind of deforms a little bit right here and the thumb screw is on the trail side of my club. The reason why I'm doing that, because now it tells me where I'm going to epoxy it, and it also gives me a little bit more surface area to epoxy. So once you have that done, you can take all of this off. We're gonna let gravity help us a little bit here, and we're just gonna put some epoxy inside of the hose clamp like this, and then we're going to place it where we want, and gravity is just kind of gonna hold it on. To help it a little bit more, I am gonna use a little bit of duct tape just to kind of make sure it's on where I want it to be. And we're just gonna let that cure. This says it sets in 15 minutes, cures in 30. So we're gonna let that one set there for a little bit. Place it right where we wanted. We're just gonna do the other side. Again, I'm just putting a little bit of epoxy right where that deformation is, where we put it, because that kind of tells us where we want our, and we're just gonna put it right on there and let gravity do its thing. Oops, I almost forgot. We wanna make sure it goes the right way here. Trail side. Again, just a little bit of duct tape to hold it into place. Cold outside in my garage, so this is gonna take a little bit to cure, but once it does, we'll be good. Today is January 12th, the day I'm submitting this video, and I am 2 subscribers away from 100 subscribers. I can tell you that probably after this video, I'll be over 100 subscribers, so I'm going to do a 100 subscriber giveaway. I'm asking you guys to do 3 things to enter this. One is in the description, there's a link to a giveaway, a form to fill out. Once you do that, you are entered into the giveaway. The second thing I'm asking you to do is I'm giving away a box of Vice golf balls. There's many different kinds of Vice golf balls. I want you to comment what type of Vice golf ball you want. And then the third thing is I want you to consider subscribing to my channel. You do not have to subscribe to my channel, but if you consider subscribing to my channel, that's perfect enough for me. If you find value in these videos, if you're using these tips, if you're watching me get better so you can get better, then maybe you should subscribe, but I'm not gonna force you. So the giveaway is gonna start today, January 12th, and it's gonna run for 2 weeks. After those 2 weeks, I will draw a winner. I will contact you via email that you put inside of the drawing. So please make sure that's a valid email that you check often, and then I will ship you off the balls that you asked for. So again, thank you for subscribing. Thank you for this last month of me posting videos and getting 100 subscribers. And here's the rest of the video. So it's the next day, and so everything's super on there, super dry. I don't think these are gonna go anywhere, but we need to put it on the club now. So it's really easy to put on the club. Remember, it's gonna go this way, so this right here has a little bit extra in the back. So we're just gonna shove the club through those hose clamps, just like this, but now it's on. And then we just have to line this up with the face of the club. So the leading edge of the club needs to be lined up with the hanger. See how the leading edge of the face is now lined up with the hanger. And I'm just using those thumb screws and I'm just tightening it up. Super easy. Line it up perfectly with the edge of the club. So there we go. Once you got it on your club and it's lined up with the lead edge of your club head, it's really easy to use, and I would recommend only using half shots to begin with because you're trying to train your hands. One of the things you want to be aware of when you're using this is this edge right here. It's kind of like having a alignment rod, so you don't want to hit the side of your body with this until it's after impact. And so it's kind of like a hidden feature there, is like you're aware of this maybe hitting it. So when you set up, you're just going to set up normally. When you go to your backswing, the hanger needs to be touching your forearm as long as possible, all the way through the swing, through impact, and it should leave your arm after you hit the ball. That's all it really is. Something interesting happened though, for me at least, and this is where I had my epiphany, is every time I tried to leave my lead wrist flat, I kept it straight. And what I mean is I had no wrist hinge. And so I didn't really know how to wrist hinge and keep my lead wrist flat. And this right here helped me. As soon as I put it on and I was trying things, I'm like, oh, that's what it's supposed to feel like. And I have this thing that I borrowed from one of my friends. It's called a Pro Sender. That's one of the things you can do to keep golf cheap, is borrow stuff from friends that buy the expensive stuff. And this is supposed to help your trail wrist, and this is supposed to help your lead wrist. I think this right here is actually more beneficial than that, only because it trains both wrists. If you want to have that wrist hinge and have the straight lead wrist, this tells you what to do with both hands, because your lead wrist can stay flat while your trail hand can help you with that wrist hinge. And both of those together help you control your hands through the swing. And so that's what my epiphany was like, hey, I can keep my lead wrist flat and wrist hinge for that extra speed at the bottom with less effort. And so I just started with the little half swings, and I got my Garmin hooked up to kind of see where these go. So here's my half swing. So I'm just gonna come back, keep that hanger against my wrist, and then wrist hinge with it keeping against my wrist. And then I'm just gonna unload it at the ball. So a little half swing. That was a great little half swing. Just like that. That one was a little pushed. Oh, that was a little thin. I think that was more tempo than anything. That just goes to show you though, like, this isn't a miracle worker. It's not gonna make you a pro golfer. It's gonna take some work, and you're gonna still hit bad shots. So here again, another little halvey here. There we go. That one might be a little pulled. I would start off with that and then go to more like 3/4 shots, still slow, nice and easy. And again, what I'm feeling in this is I'm hinging and I'm keeping that hinge until about right here, and then I'm unloading it to the ball at the ball, with the hanger being pinned against my forearm here. That was much better. It's probably around 85 miles an hour. Another good one. That one's probably a little bit higher launch angle, but that one felt great. So let's do full swings, because you can definitely do full swings with this. It's a little hard, but let's see if I can do a couple full swings here. That one was definitely a push. Okay, one more full swing here. And this is full on the course swing, not necessarily everything here. Okay, so that's how you would train with this. And like I said, I'm extremely happy making this. Realistically, we need to see if it will translate with it not on, because you can't have this on in competition. So I'm gonna take it off, and then we're gonna hit some that isn't using this and see if I can still hit as good as I was just a second ago. Okay, so I took the hanger off, and now we're gonna see if I can still hit the ball as well as I was hitting before. So the only thing I'm gonna hit only like 3 shots, is flat wrist with that hinge. And so I'm gonna feel this all the way down. Let's see here. So I definitely closed my face, but I could feel it. I felt it. I felt it that time. So let's feel it open. So I'm gonna feel it open through impact. There we go. Yeah, that, like making that small adjustment, knowing what it was supposed to feel. It's right down the middle, 16-degree launch, 86, 109. Let's try that again. That one felt great. One more here, and then we'll go over everything. Oh yeah, that one felt good too. Yeah, perfect. Perfect, guys. So let's talk about it. So does this help you with your game? I would say yes, it's helping me with my game. I'm hitting them lower. I'm hitting them more on plane. I'm hitting them more with a neutral club face. And it's not really much. It's just a hanger with some hose clamps and a little bit of epoxy. I feel like you could get all of this stuff for under $25. I mean, I can do the math real quick. Even not on sale, the hangers were $3.98. The epoxy was like $6. Hose clamps you could probably get from a local hardware store with the thumb screw for like $5, and then the duct tape's probably around $10. So yeah, like $25 to make this, versus like the actual hanger. I think they're selling for like $60 to $70, and so you can save a ton of money just doing it this way. I don't think I'll be using this a lot, but I feel like I'll be using it enough to where I can throw it in my bag, and if I feel like I'm hooking them or I'm really pushing them every day, I can throw this on real quick on my 7-iron and just try to get that back on plane and feel those feels again, and then move on. Now, I also made this DIY pressure board that I would like you guys to go check out that other video right here. This is an amazing thing. I gained about 20 yards just by practicing with this and making this. So go ahead and check out that video. And until next time, make your golf your project.